I guess you could say I was looking for a teacher like Odd Nerdrum before I knew of his work. At the university, they gave me the impression that it's fine to learn about the old masters and to learn the techniques, but if you try to make paintings like the old masters, you are uh, out of uh, out of your time, and you're doing something terribly wrong. I was looking through magazines like Art in America or Art News. I don't remember which one it was, but I saw an ad by Forum Gallery for one of Odd's exhibitions, and I couldn't believe what I was seeing. I thought it was some kind of joke. I thought it was somebody just joking about painting like this in some weird, twisted way. It just looked like it was from another planet. I can't emphasize how bizarre it was to see Odd's paintings in 1997 or 98 when I came across them in the magazines. I immediately began to try to research him and research. I mean, I was already trying to paint like in an old masterly style and buying books about mediums that Rembrandt might have used, or uh, it was all just hit or miss. I was getting mixed results, and I was still just learning myself, just grasping the basic concepts of drawing and painting from observation. And but something just drew me to it. I can't explain why it it was so imperative. I must learn. I must learn how to do this. The more I looked at his work, the more I felt just this uh, strong connection to what he was producing, and there was something about the fearlessness in the way that he painted that drew me as well. I learned all I could about Odd at the time. You know, the internet was becoming a thing, but even though there had been documentaries and he'd been interviewed many times already by the mid late 90s, it was very difficult to find uh, video footage of him talking about anything, or much less him demonstrating his painting techniques. And I finished Kutztown University and later attended the New York Academy of Art, and learning a lot about oil painting, but still not finding quite what I was looking for. And I felt like I was self-censoring and reining in these sensibilities that I had, and this desire to just really uh, get darker and get dramatic. And I came to learn that some recent students of the New York Academy of Art had studied with Odd Nerdrum, and I sought them out, and they were kind enough to meet with me and tell me about what they experienced when they visited him in Norway. Put together a submission package. He sent it to Forum Gallery, and they forwarded it to Odd. On January 19th, 2004, I was in New York City, opened up my email, and I saw an email from Turid saying that Odd had seen my slides and invited me to come and stay and study that summer in Norway. That moment changed my life. So I arrived in Norway in June 2004. I was awake for 3 days straight, I think. I'd never flown before and had never been out of the country. And I had spent a few years living in Manhattan. Suddenly I'm in this peaceful farm by the shore in Norway. It was a culture shock in a way, but in a good way. I immediately kind of took to the surroundings at the farm. I remember the first time I met Odd, he was coming through the hallway and he shook my hand and welcomed me. Later that same day, my first day, we were all sitting around his studio and he was working, and he handed me his sketchbook and invited me to look through his sketchbook, and that was wonderful. Just he was letting me see behind the scenes immediately how his brain worked. This is something I was wondering about for years. Just suddenly handed it to me. It wasn't long before being at the farm opened creative doors for me. I did not feel constrained anymore. I finally felt like I was in a place where my sensibilities were welcome and celebrated. Invited to his basement fireplace room where we'd drink wine and look at dozens of books full of reproductions of paintings, and making the old masters sort of compete with each other was fascinating, and that was new to me. And we have movie night where we'd watch Ballad of a Soldier, A Man for All Seasons, the classic movie. I stretched a lot of canvases and extended a lot of canvas stretchers, and he just seemed to know how many more centimeters he wanted off to the one side of a canvas stretcher. And being there for the midsummer celebrations, and we put together an enormous bonfire down on the property closer to the water, and each year it just seemed to get larger and larger. This enormous fire made on a rock. And Odd made the shift to the Apelles palette between 2004 and 2007, and it was fascinating to see. Thankfully, when I was in Norway, I kept a daily journal of what I was seeing and experiencing and learning. And you learned by observing him at work and just engaging with him during his process. And that was great. I just remember sitting there for hours, probably, watching him work in the studio and having conversations with him. It's become an international community of painters, and I think that was always the vision of Odd and Janova and so many of the other painters who were there in the earlier years of the Kitsch movement. And I'm so pleased to have been a part of it.